I didn't have a clear vision of what I really want to become. I just wanted to get out of my house and I wanted to do something big, and I really didn't have any clarity what I want to become. Marriage is not required if you love each other, if you really want to be with each other. Whether you're married or you're not, it doesn't really matter. We do it for the society, I feel. You should have children only if you really want it. Why, I really don't know, but I feel that we are enough for each other. I am not the queen of the nation. I don't have to produce an heir, or I am not from a dinosaur species that my species will be lost if I don't give a child. There's another funny reason that they say that who will take care of you? Another reason people give is your properties and everything, whatever you have earned, your assets. What are you going to do?
Debashree.
Hi.
Welcome to Mumbai's Millennial Mind.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to have you here. This is your first podcast, right?
Correct. So I have given a lot of interview, but I've never really spoken in a podcast, something like this. So yeah, my first time.
So happy to have you here. But for people who don't know who you are, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I am an actress. I have done a TV show. It's for Star Plus called Suhani Si Ek Ladki. So it's a daily soap which runs like 5 days a week. It's still on air in Hotstar. You can always watch it. But there are like so many episodes because it ran for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was there for 2.5 years, and that's how my career started. So I always wanted to become an actor. I was into classical dance and art, and a lot of theaters and stuff from my childhood. So that brought me to Mumbai. I'm actually from Darjeeling. It's a hill station in West Bengal.
Okay.
So then I traveled here, and then when I started doing my education in hospitality, I got opportunity to work in series,
Okay.
So I never thought that I will become an actor,
Right.
Because so what happens in small hill station, there's no career like acting or modeling, but then you can become a doctor, engineer. So that is more, at that time it was more of career. Now we have multiple careers in entertainment industry, but in hill stations and small places they don't consider it like that. So when I came here, I actually wanted to do hospitality course.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when you say there wasn't really a career, do you mean there was like a taboo? Like
Correct.
people would look down upon modeling and acting?
So not like that. My family is from a very liberal background, and they have liberal mentality. Bengalis are rich in culture, in arts and all. But then we never thought it can be a career. You can earn money.
Yes.
You can make it like a proper. You can do it like a hobby, but not. You cannot make a living out of it. That sort of concept.
Got it.
So more serious jobs are like, doctor, engineer, or at that time, cabin crew.
Wow.
They were really trending. So I made it an excuse, and I came to Mumbai to become a cabin crew.
And you came by yourself?
Yes, my mom, of course, she came. She supported me. She left me to Mumbai.
Okay.
And then while I was doing, so I didn't have a clear vision of what I really want to become. I just wanted to get out of my house, and I wanted to do something big, and I really didn't have any clarity what I want to become. But I was very inclined towards entertainment, dance, art, and all that. So when I started working in hospitality industry, I was rather doing my training. I was not doing a job. So then I got opportunity, and that's how my career started.
And how did you get the opportunity?
So when I was doing my airline course, somebody randomly gave me a pamphlet. If you are quite photogenic, you can do your portfolio. So I kept it with me. And then I was very sure I'll become an air hostess, so I was doing my training. But during the course, I felt that I'm not enjoying this. This is not giving me happiness. What am I doing? Like, I am not looking down at that profession, but it
Yes.
was just not meant for me, because I wanted to do something big, something where I am happy. It wasn't giving me happiness, and moreover, I'm not like I don't like flying that much. I realized at that time. I'm still very scared of landing, especially.
No way. And you were going to become an air hostess?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that wasn't the right path for you.
Yes, correct. So then while working in this industry, like hospitality industry, I realized that, then I thought that, okay, that guy had given me this thing, that pamphlet, let me reach out.
Yeah.
And that's how I reached out to him. He was a photographer. I did a portfolio, and it was for free, like it was not a work. I did it for him, so
Yes.
that he can show it to his clients for as his work profile.
Yes.
That's how my journey started. So I just did it like, okay, I'm doing it for you, so let me shoot some frames for you, and then you can use it for your own work. So when he started showing this girl, this is my profile, then people started asking, who's this girl? She's really, call her for auditions, and then there was an urgent requirement of this show, where the lead was getting replaced, and I was kind of fitting in, so they called me, and next day I was shooting.
Stop.
Yes.
With no experience?
No experience at all.
What?
Yes, correct.
Oh my gosh. And then what happened to your education when you were studying? You were like...
I quit it. So the one thing I had was courage, I feel, because I'm the youngest child of my family. So youngest child and a daughter.
Wow.
I was the first one to step out of my house. See, for metro cities and big cities, it's quite normal thing, but from coming from a middle class family, from a very small hill station, not a small hill station, it's quite popular if you live in India, but still there the culture and the value system is totally different. People are more protective towards their kids, they don't let you go out and all. So but then I had that courage, and self-belief that I will do something in life. Let me just get out, because I knew that there's no opportunity there. I have to move out. Where, I don't know. It just happened that I got this aviation course here in Mumbai, and then I came here, and then that's how it started.
I love that. That is so inspiring.
Yeah.
How did you have that courage then? If you're the only girl,
Yes.
you're the youngest, and
Yes.
women are in kind of like that area you grew up in, very sheltered and protected.
Correct.
Why were you so different?
I still don't know why am I different. I'm still different, and my thoughts and my values and my everything is very different. You are just different sometime, in a good way, or sometime in a bad way.
Yeah.
Sometime, but I think it was for a good way. I had that courage, and my mother believed in me.
Yeah.
And she supported me, and she brought me here. And then there was like, of course the journey is too long, but I kept on believing myself. I had that courage that one day I will reach where I want to reach. And I believe that I still have to, because when you grow in your life, in your career, your dream starts changing, Now this, then next step is something else. So where I am today, I did not dream about this when I was a kid, or 10-year, 12-year-old. I had different dream. I had just dream of coming to a big city and doing something.
Yeah.
So when I started this journey, I had different dream. Now I have different dream. So it keeps changing.
Of course, and you're always growing and you're always evolving.
Correct.
When you decided to kind of go into this acting role, was this the big Star Plus series?
No.
What was the first one?
So that is when my real struggle started. So I was like, I had no clue about acting.
Yeah.
Of course, I was into art.
Yeah.
I was into dance. I was into theaters. But acting in front of camera is totally a different game. When I faced the camera first time, that was the moment I knew that this is what I want to do, because that gave me immense happiness, joy. I felt empowered I felt like I can be anyone else, you know, get into the character and be anyone else and express and like anyone, you know. But I didn't have formal training. I was nervous. That show also, okay, you asked me the name of the show. It was for DD1 channel, and the name of the show was Chandramukhi. So Chandrakanta was a very popular and known show of DD1, which I also loved as a child. But the sequel of that show was Chandramukhi, and I just did the show for 3 months, and the show went off air. Yeah, and I was struggling big time in the show, performing, learning about the crew, camera, how to face camera, how to take lights. While doing everything, you have to also concentrate on your performance, your costume, your makeup, and I was doing a costume drama, so I had to wear, like my first break was only huge, so I had to do multiple things. So I understood that I have to take a formal training, so then I went to film school.
Okay. And then after, how long were you in film school?
Almost 6 to 7 months, and then I got this Star Plus show.
Wow. And that was a transition, like you felt better going into the Star Plus show?
Yes, that was a huge show. Because DD is like a national channel, you know. Nobody watches it.
We all watch Star Plus at home.
Yes, I know. It's quite globally popular.
It is.
So yeah, Star Plus show was quite big for me, and that gave me a lot of exposure. And that time social media was not so active initially, but by the time my show was over, it started coming up, Instagram and everything. But I was very artistic, you know. I was not into show business. I just used to perform, and that's it. I didn't believe in showing up in front of audience or people, or so somebody told me that, why don't you start your Instagram? So that's how I started my Instagram. And because I was a TV celeb, it got verified quickly, because at that time it wasn't like now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it must have been really tough. After you gave up the show, what is that when you kind of went into content creation? So you had another avenue to explore.
Correct.
Okay.
So one of my friend who used to study with me in the film school, he couldn't do well in acting, so he started creating content. He became a blogger. That time it we used to call creators blogger. Now we say content creator.
Yeah.
So every time it's evolving and changing. But yeah, he became a blogger, and he also used to run a PR agency. So he told me, you know, I'll send you, you have a verified profile, you have a quite good number of followers, I'll send you some perfumes, like expensive perfumes, luxury perfumes, why don't you just pose? So I started doing that. I said, oh wow, you'll get free stuff for nothing, just posting a picture. It started from there. Now I understand how difficult it is to create a content, but that time it was just like that, you know.
Yes.
I don't have to spend the money, I just have to post, and my posting was just like a normal picture, not like a proper aesthetically shot or something. That's how I started. And then later on, when I started traveling, I traveled the world, and I started, like, I had good fashion sense since childhood, and I used to wear lovely outfits and pose, and wherever I travel I had lovely locations, and that's how it became a piece of content.
Wow.
You know, and whatever I started wearing, bag, everything that I wore became, you know, like that became a piece of content.
Yes.
That I was not aware of.
So it was natural, it was very organic.
Very natural, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and then I came to know, then brands started approaching me, and they started asking me for commercials. And then I was like, okay, I can ask money for this. I was like, wow, that guy didn't tell me, because he also had his motive, you know. He was making me do things for free. So, you know, people are selfish these days. They do something for you, which I'm grateful about. He kind of navigated me to this, but he also had his own motive. So that is fair enough, but I at least got this opportunity, and that's how I started creating content, which is really true to me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And so while you were creating this content, is that how you met your husband, or was it before?
That was before, when I was acting. I was doing a show, and I had a lot of actor friends, and she happened to be my husband's friend, and he
Right.
had come to Mumbai to visit, just to visit.
Okay.
And I was going through a heartbreak that time.
Okay.
I recently had a heartbreak, and
Right.
I was going through that phase, dark phase. If
Yeah.
you have ever gone through a
The worst.
heartbreak, you know that. So I was not going out, I was not doing anything. So my friend, she called me, my friends have come from Bangalore. Why don't you come? You'll feel better. We'll go out for dinner. And that's how I met him.
Your love story is very unique for me,
Yeah.
and I want to talk through it.
Sure.
So, you met your husband, you started dating,
Yes.
but you are from different castes,
Correct.
right? Talk me through the journey.
So I am a Bengali, and I'm a non-vegetarian, hardcore. He's a Jain, so he's from Rajasthan. He's from a very conservative family. I am from a very liberal family. But he is not like that, because he lived his entire life, like from college till his career and all, away from his family.
Right.
So when we started dating, I knew that my family, I'm a very strong-headed person. you
Yeah.
know. If I want something, I get it. If I don't want, then it's
Yeah.
okay. I'll not be interested. I'll not make an effort. I knew that if I want to be with this guy, I will. My parents will be okay with that, because they believe in me. They know that I'll make a right choice, and I know how to convince if I really want something. Yes. So, but for him it was difficult.
Yeah.
So then what happened was, within 2 to 3 months he moved to Mumbai. He shifted, and I was very, initially I thought, okay, this guy will just say no and it's okay. But then he shifted to Mumbai, and that was like leaving everything.
Wow.
He was ready to leave his job, but then his boss was like not let. He
Letting
was
him
not
go.
ready. Yeah. So he gave him this flexibility of working from home, go live your life type. So he shifted here with everything, all his belonging and all, and I was the one who was looking for a flat for him, and that's how everything started. And that is something which quite made me impressed, and I was like, this guy is really serious about me. So we started living together after a few months. Of course, my brother was also living with us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we three were living together like a family.
Okay. And how was that? Did you tell your parents?
My parents knew. After some time, my parents knew about it, and they were okay with it.
Okay.
Yes.
Did his parents know?
His parents knew a little bit, not totally, but little bit, because they are very conservative, and they come from a very different kind of mentality, very communal about their culture, about everything, religion and everything. So I respect that. That's okay. I told him, take your time, that's not a problem. Unless my family is not pressurizing me, I'm okay with it.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't have any issue staying with a guy without marriage.
You were fine to not get married?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I feel that marriage is not required if you love each other, if you really want to be with each other. Whether you're married or you're not, it doesn't really matter. We do it for the society, I feel.
Really? So you feel that there's no extra level of commitment if you're married, it's just a piece of paper?
Correct. If you're committed, you're committed. It doesn't have to be on the paper, I feel.
But you're married now?
Yes.
Did you have a wedding?
No, I didn't have a wedding.
You're my idol. I want to be like you when I'm older.
I wanted to have, but it just didn't happen. But now I'm okay without having it. Even if I wanted to have like a very small ceremony where my family and my very close one enjoys the moment together, celebrate us. Not like a grand marriage where you call 1,000 people and they care a shit about your marriage. They just have come to wear nice clothes and eat nice food, and that's about it, and show off. I don't believe in that.
I get that.
Yeah. So I didn't have to like I didn't want to have a ceremony, but I wanted to have like a small ceremony where we celebrate our togetherness, but that didn't happen.
Why?
Because his family was against our marriage.
Wow.
Against his mother was not aware of the marriage for a very long time. And my his father was aware,
Okay.
but he couldn't come
That's
because
so sad.
she was not, you know, okay with it.
So when did she find out?
So there was a lot of chaos, you know, there was a lot of convincing. I am not blaming him because he tried his best.
Yeah.
And it was just not happening. And I also couldn't stop the marriage because my father, especially my mom and my dad, they were like, if you're living together, you have to get married.
Okay.
Even if your brother is staying with you, doesn't matter because people will talk. In India, it's like that, you know,
Yeah.
people will talk more for people and less for what you really want. That's what happens more here. People more concentrate on, you know, what people are talking about. And I understand where it's coming from because we live in a society, especially, I don't care, but my family, you know, they care. And I can convince them for some time, but I also understand where they are coming from. So I started pressurizing him, you know, why don't you tell your parents? And so, but then till the end he could not, so we had to sign the paper and his parents were not available. And
Was that really hard for both of you? Did that put a strain on your relationship?
yes, that time was, so I was getting married but I was not happy. I was like, why am I doing this? You know, I was not getting I was, you know, wedding is a big thing for anyone, I think, if you really want to.
Yeah.
And you should be happy. It's a happy moment.
Yeah.
It should not be stress. Okay, anxiety and all that, nerve wracking, all that
Yes.
thing happens. That's a different thing. But my entire process was very painful and stressful. And it was just, okay, let me just get it done type, you know.
Really?
So, exactly. So that is what happened, and we signed the paper. That was a formality. My parents came, and my brother was there. My few friends, like two, as only witnesses, were there. So they came just to sign, and we were done with that.
How did you push through? How did you know that he was the right person for you? Like all of this for one person, you know. And how did he know? I wish he was here because I met him before. I want to ask him, you know. He moved to the city, his family don't approve, he's given up everything. How did you know he was the right person? And how did he know you were the right person?
So our relationship was not smooth. We had our doubts, we had our small breakups and patch up, but there was some connection between us, some maybe that's the friendship that we share, the strong bond of wanting to be with each other.
Yeah.
You know, doing small things together, the love, we call it love, but I call it friendship, companionship, and really wanting to be with each other. You know, there are a lot of things that I don't like about him. Probably there are a lot of things that he doesn't like about me, but nobody is perfect, I feel. But what matters is how much you really want to be with each other, how, whether you miss that person, when it's just not missing, whether you feel that your life is incomplete without that person. It can be anyone, I feel. It can be your lover, your husband, or a friend, or a parent. So that one person who really completes you in terms of you want to do things together, that companionship, that friendship, you know, we have a very good friendship. See, romance and all these things fades away after some time. You know, you don't feel that kind of eye-locking kind of romance which we had initially.
Yes.
Like holding hands and looking into each other's eyes. That will be only very temporary. But what will last is your friendship and your companionship and how much you want to be with each other. And that is still very, very strong. And we knew that no matter what turbulence comes in our way, we want to be with each other, and we kind of found a way to be with each other.
So nice. And seeing you both here today, you can really see that. You know, you really are so well suited to one another. And I think having the right values, you know, when we look for a partner, we always say, what's your type? In terms of looks, in terms of height, in terms of the outside characteristics. But actually what we really need to ask ourselves is, what's your type in terms of who they are? You know, what characteristics are aligned? What things do you want and what things do you not want? So that when you're meeting someone, you don't overcome all of those obstacles too.
Correct.
One of the things I wanted to speak to you about, which I've never spoken to anyone about, is not wanting to have children.
Yeah.
Because it's very, I've never ever met anyone who's been so open in telling me, I don't want to have kids. Talk to me about that decision. Have you always known you don't want to have kids?
Yes.
Really?
So when we met, we knew that we don't want to have. So that's why these are small things which are very common between us. We have same values, same interests, like we both love traveling. He helps me grow in my life, supports me in what I do, and helps me in all the way possible, same way I do it. So relationship should be where it shouldn't be toxic, you know. You should help each other grow, share the little moment together, and similar kind of, you don't have to be similar person, but you have to enjoy similar, like we love traveling, we love food. So one common thing was we don't want children.
Why?
Now so I feel you should have children only if you really want it. Why, I really don't know, but I feel that we are enough for each other, and we don't want, so the reasons has to be very clear. Why, if I ask you why you want to have a children, do you have answers?
Yes. I think for me, ever since I've been a child, I've always looked after like my cousins or my nieces or nephews. And I really believe that they make me so happy. And I love the idea of having someone in your life that you can guide and you can teach and you can make, and like, you know, when you meet someone, I feel that I've just had this maternal instinct towards them, and I love looking after babies, and I just feel so happy when I'm with them. You know, if we hang out with my cousins, the first thing I always say, are the kids coming? And if the kids aren't coming, I don't want to come. You know, like this whole holiday, my family came and the kids didn't come, and every day I was missing them, watching their videos like every single day. But I've always, from a kid, like even when I was 12, I'd want to look after my nieces and nephews. So I think that's why I definitely do. I really want to be a mother.
So that's the right answer, you know, that's the correct answer. So that I don't have.
Yes.
Yeah. So why will I have a kid when I don't feel this way?
Yeah,
I am maternal. I have pets. I've been taking care of pets since like 10 years.
Wow.
People may think that, okay, they are just animals, but I have the similar, they need more care than a human baby, because they will always be dependent on you.
So true.
Human baby, they grow and then they can take care of themselves. But I do have motherly instincts and, you know, that kind of feeling. And I do have taken care of my babies, because I call them my furry babies.
Aww.
Both of us are like that, you know, we both love them so much. But the other things that you said, I don't have that. I don't feel like taking care of a human baby. I don't feel, so why will I have it?
I get it.
People give me reasons like, you should have something of your own. So I feel I am not the queen of the nation. I don't have to produce an heir, or I am not from a dinosaur species that my species will be lost if I don't give a child. You know, these
So
are my
true.
reasons.
You're not going to be extinct.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a normal human being. You know, I don't have to produce an heir. So why a piece of me? Then another reason people give is your properties and everything. Whatever you have earned, your assets, you know,
what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? So nowadays, at this time, I feel everybody is so independent. Look at me, look at you, look at everybody. Nobody is really dependent and looking for their parents' money.
True.
And if that's the reason, I don't want to have that kind of baby, you know, who wants
Yes.
That is another reason which I find it very stupid. And let me think. So these reasons are not good enough for me to have a baby.
I get it. I think if you don't have this instinct, and you know, one of my friends actually, she's an Indian, so she's English, but she says, I just don't like kids. I find them annoying. I find them messy. I don't feel any need to look after them, so I'm not going to have them. But she said I might change my mind when I'm older. But she finds me weird that I want to see my nieces and nephews and I FaceTime them all the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, people are different. Like, I hate truffle. Okay, I hate it.
Correct.
99.9% of people love it, and that's their choice.
Yes.
I can't tell you 15,000 reasons as to why I don't like truffle. I just don't like it. So she always says to me, it's like that. You know, you hate truffle and I love it. And you don't have to give me 15,000 reasons. And I think the problem is when we deviate away from the standard, we always feel we need to justify everything with so many reasons. So I don't want to have a big wedding, and I feel like I need to justify it to everyone. Well, this is the reason, and this is the reason, and this is the reason. Why do I have to? You don't want to have kids, and I'm asking you in an interview, but why? And it's like, why do I have to ask you that? You can just say, I don't want to have kids. That's it.
Yes.
I don't need to justify. You don't need to justify the reasons to
Yes.
me. You don't need to justify the reasons to anybody else. But the reason I asked you that question is obviously this is an interview, but I'm sure that when you go outside, everyone asks you that, right?
Yes.
Did you face a lot of backlash?
I do.
Really?
I do. And there are a lot of expectations. There's another funny reason that they say that who will take care of you?
Yes.
You know, in India, they would, when you grow old, look at us. I don't live with my parents, you know. My brothers don't live with my parents. Even now, parents are like, they want to be alone. They want their own space.
True.
So this reason is not good enough, I feel, that who will look after me. I will keep someone to look after me, you know. I don't have to have a baby to look after me.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not even sure whether that, you know, child of me will grow up and take care of me, because nowadays nobody does.
True.
Everybody want to live their own life, which is okay.
Yeah.
You know, this I am doing it, you are doing it, you might do it tomorrow.
When I move out.
Yes. And even parents, you know, my mom doesn't want to live with my brothers.
Of course.
Because she wants her own life, her own space. So that the reasons are not good enough for me to have a baby, and I don't feel the way you feel to have a baby.
So true.
That is my reason of not having a baby.
But do people understand that? Or
They don't.
They don't. How do you cope with all of that? Because you have such a big platform. You know, you're nearly at 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yes.
I'm not even a tenth of that, and I find that everyone's got an opinion about anything. The other day, I said as a joke, because I did a Q&A, and people said, are you single? Okay, now I don't post about my relationship on Instagram. And as a joke, I wrote, no, I'm a good Indian girl who doesn't post about her relationship until she is married. Okay, now I am joking. I wrote 3 laughing faces after that as well. Okay, people were messaging me saying, so disappointed you said that. You know, are you saying that if you post about your relationship you're a bad girl, or are you saying that you're not a good Indian girl if you're in a relationship? I was like, what on earth? Like, you can't say anything now on Instagram as a joke. Everything has to be, you know, super serious, and you have to make sure everybody knows that if you are joking, you have to write, I am joking. So now I have to do that, right? Like, this is a joke, just to let you know. Even he's laughing. It's true, right? How do you cope with such a big audience?
So I am a very strong-headed person, and I am a very, in Hindi we call it dheet. Dheet means stubborn, not stubborn also, nothing affects you. I've become that person now. It used to affect me. So internet has opinion, people have opinion for everything, whether you say right thing or wrong thing, whether you want to talk about your relationship or not, whether you want to have a baby or not. I really don't care. You know, if I don't like something, I delete it, that's all.
Great.
But initially it used to affect me. So when I was doing my show, they used to check like what kind of relationship I have with my co-actors. If I post a picture with this co-actor, means I have a good relationship. If I don't post, means I'm not talking to this co-actor, and then our fans will fight with each other. And so I had to delete my Twitter account. Can you believe it? I had like, I don't know how many followers. Verified Twitter, that time verifying Twitter was very
Huge.
difficult. So I had to do that because it used to affect my mental health, and people used to feel that, okay, fans used to fight, and they used to just assume things that, okay, if she hasn't posted a picture with this co-actor, means she has some issues with her.
How do you cope with that? Because, you know, what I'm hearing is you're so strong. You know, you left your small town, you've come to Mumbai, where I presume you didn't know anyone, right? So you've had to make friends. You've met your husband now, but your boyfriend at the time. You're living with your brother. His parents are unhappy with you. Your parents want you to get married. You're fighting this with not just your families, but the world of, we don't want to have children. And then you're going through this whole thing about being a social media content creator and dealing with hate online. How do you cope? How did you get so strong?
I think the strength is just within. I don't know, it doesn't affect me.
Do you do anything to cope with the stress? Because it seems like there's so much going on all the time, and there's a lot of outside noise, you know? So what do you do to allow yourself to not care? Because I'm sure people are watching and listening to this thinking, I care about everyone's opinions. I care too much about my family, or I care too much about my friends, and I want to be strong. So how do I, like you, become strong?
So from childhood I was like that. I really don't care about anyone's opinion so much, but that time I had limitations. I had to care about certain people who were really close to me.
Of course.
So that thing is there within me from childhood, but now it's very strong. Having said that, it's not that I don't feel affected. I do. So like I said, that I was affected when people used to write things about me. But slowly I have trained myself to become this person that nobody is going to affect my mental peace, because they are not important to me. Why should their opinion affect me? They are just random people talking. They probably are unhappy in their own life, so they don't want to see others happy. That's what is my mentality. And then I focus. That's one important thing. I focus only on my growth.
What do you mean?
Means I don't compare myself with any other. It may sound very cliche, but it's true that I don't, and I used to before. Not so much like others are totally, you know what others are doing, no.
Yes.
But little bit you want to see what others are doing. Why am I not doing this? I used to, that was like 5 years back, but not now anymore, because I feel that the universe has enough for everybody.
Yeah, an abundance mindset.
Yes, abundance.
And how did you kind of get to that? Because, you know, in this industry, in any industry, in media or entertainment, it's cutthroat, you know, and especially amongst women, there's a lot of jealousy, comparison, less collaboration. But I will say one thing, being in India, I cannot believe how nice everyone is. I am shocked. Like the amount of people that are helping me, I only had 7 guests or 8 guests when I came, okay? And I now have over 20 people booked in. Because in 2 days, people are calling people, they're like, okay, let me call this person right now, let me sort it out for you. Then they're adding me to all these groups with all these people, they're setting up meetings for me. I'm like, everyone here is very collaborative. But that's my experience, as I think coming in from someone from the UK. Was the same experience for you? Was everyone collaborative towards you?
Not initially, but when you are recognized and when you prove with your work, people will come to you. That's what I believe, and that's why I don't have insecurities, because I know what is mine will come to me, and what is not mine will not come to me, no matter how much I try or cry about it or, you know, feel jealous. It's not mine, it will not come to me.
So true. Are you spiritual?
I am a very spiritual person, and a lot of it comes from my spiritual life, because I truly believe in universal power, And I feel that we have the same power within. We just have to tap, and we have to believe that we can get it. And my life is an example of it, because I come from a very small middle class family, you know, where my parents literally had to struggle to get us educated also. I didn't go to an English medium school. I went to a Bengali medium school. No one will believe it now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when did you learn
Because
English?
my parents could not afford it. So after 10th, I went to a spoken English school, and I learnt it. Then I went to Xavier's College because I wanted to go there.
Wow.
Because why, you know, my reasons were very clear. Because I used to feel that I don't have anything less than this convent girls. Then why they don't take me in, or why they think that I'm a little lesser than them? Why they count me out, you know? So we had group of friends where we would go to a club and we would meet, but they will always look down on us, those who are not from a convent school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did Shah Rukh Khan go to St. Xavier's?
In Delhi, I don't know, but in Darjeeling we have St. Xavier's College, and I wanted to go to that college, and I could not speak a line in English.
And you went?
I went because I learned.
Wow.
So I feel the mantra is work hard. If you have not got it easy, work hard on yourself. Believe in yourself, and then you'll get what is yours.
So true. And manifest that life for yourself, right?
Yes.
By working hard and doing it.
And you have to be a very good human being. That is very important. If you think ill about others and only wonder what others are doing, you're not no matter if you do the first 3 steps, you're not going to go there. Because the purity attracts everything that you want, you know, the intention.
So true. I say it all the time. I'm like, if you have a good intention and someone criticizes you for it, it doesn't impact me. I don't care. But let's say if I've done something with a bad intention or I haven't been clear, that's only when it will affect you.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of the time, I said this to someone recently because, you know, it was a special time for them and they were feeling upset and someone upset them. And I said, look, what I've realized as I've gotten older is when someone says something to me and they've upset me, like if I say to you today, look, I don't like your outfit, okay? You're gonna go away feeling upset, yeah? You might not, but let's just say an example, okay? You'll go away. You personally won't care. You'll be like, cool, I'm going. But you know, you would feel upset and say, you don't like my outfit, and you would think about it for 6 hours, 7 hours, ruin your evening, think about it next week, whatever. Me, I've just said it and I've got on with my day.
Correct.
So now when someone says something mean to me, or, you know, someone upsets me, I just think, you know, why is it that you've upset me and I'm going to be upset for 6, 7 hours and you've just gone along with your day, you know, scot-free is how we say in the UK.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
Exactly.
So now if someone upsets me, I'm like, you're not going to sit thinking about it for hours. You're just going to get on with your day. So am I. Exactly. Why am I going to give you the permission to enter my mindset and my life to upset me?
Exactly.
Because I'm giving you that power.
Yeah.
And so if I take control of that power and I realize that within myself, now I've become so much stronger to not allowing other people to impact me.
That is very empowering, and that is exactly what I believe. Don't give power to anyone to make you unhappy, because you are responsible for your own happiness and no other person is. No one can make you happy but only you. Similar way, no one can make you unhappy but only you.
So true.
Yeah.
I love that. There are going to be a lot of people who are watching this who are really inspired by your strength. Even me, looking at you, I'm thinking, wow, you're so strong. And by interviewing a lot of women in India, I really noticed that a lot of you have a lot of self-belief. I still haven't figured out why. I'm still hoping to figure it out. But if someone's watching this and they don't believe in themselves, or they're struggling at the moment, what advice would you give them? What can they do to kind of get out of a rut?
I don't have any formula, but I'll speak from my experience in my life, what I have done. And if I can do that, you can also do it. So as I've already told you, I've come from a small town. So there was a time that I lived in Mumbai initially, like my first few months. I had come to Mumbai with only 50,000 rupees.
Wow.
That is exactly what I've taken from my family, and I, not because I don't want to take more, that was like my thing, that I will not take any more penny from my family. I will make my own living after that. I just want this much of support. So I came with that money. So I had to work and I had to study at the same time. So I was working in a call center and I was earning only 6,000 rupees per month.
So in UK, that's 6,000 rupees. That's 60 pounds.
Yes. And with that money, I had to manage my study, my travel, my food, my stay, everything.
How did you do it?
I did it. And then I'm coming to the main point, which I have not shared with, even my parents don't know it. I just have my mom now. My dad has passed away. Okay. So hopefully he doesn't have to hear it, but he'll hear it from top. But my mother might watch it now. So there was a time I was working in a call center, and that call center happened to be a fraud call center. They didn't pay us for 3 months and they eloped. They ran away. So I didn't have money to pay my rent. I was staying in a paying guest, sharing the apartment with 6 girls. And one night my landlady threw me out because I was not paying, and she was right from her side. I didn't have money, so I was living in a friend's car, and I was sleeping in his car at the back of the car. And in Mumbai, I don't know other places, but we cannot park it randomly, like, so he had to park at one place for half an hour. I would sleep for half an hour, then somebody will come and say jao jao yahan se, then he will go to some other. So that's how I spent 1 week in the car, and I will wash off and everything in the office, call center office where I was working. And by then I was working in a different office.
Call center, yeah.
And I would get my salary after 1 week. So I had to do that so that I can get a house to live in. But I never cried. I was not broken. I knew I'll make it. It was a weak moment, but I knew I will make it. You know, now I cry more, I feel, you know, that time I didn't cry.
Wow.
Because I had to survive. There was no option for me. So when I feel, what I want to tell by this example is, I have reached now and here, and I am paying around 100k to 200k to just my people who is working for my team, you know.
Your salaries, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I pay. I don't want to give you a figure how much I'm earning, but that's what I'm paying now. So if from there, if I've come here, because I had to survive, I had to, what I had committed to myself and my family, I had to do that. And I've reached beyond that, you know. I did not even think that I'll reach here. I had just thought that I'll do something, you know, independent, that's it. But just believe in yourself, never give up. And get that strength out of your life, out of your gut, wherever possible. Because if you have to make it, you will do it.
Wow.
That's what I believe.
My gosh, what a story. I can't believe it. You're so inspiring, honestly. I can't believe thinking about that, 60 pounds for 1 month.
Yeah.
And now you're paying 100, 200,000.
Yeah, sometimes.
Rupee, which is, I think, 10,000. My maths is so bad. Everyone's watching this thinking, what is your maths?
But
my
for
maths
India,
is so
like
bad.
For India, it's quite much to pay that much of salary to my entire team. I pay that much to afford that much of salary. I mean, and I still have big dreams, and now I know that I can make it because I've made
this far.
Yeah.
You've inspired me so much, and you're so strong. You know, I'm really uplifted by all the women who I've interviewed who are just so strong in India. I love it. I think it's amazing. And I'm so grateful to have met you and for you to have come on a podcast with me.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an amazing time talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, and thank you so much for listening and watching this podcast. Wherever you're listening or watching, if you could please press the follow, like and subscribe button, it would really mean the world to me.